Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. It's time to listen to Mom. Today we're going to be discussing building tension and how it's done masterfully in the movie The Prestige. We're going to be using our little marker here, and we're going to be talking about various things that build, respecting the viewer's time, and the actual climax and what makes it pop so much. And let's discuss what this movie is about. This is a period thriller set in London where two rival magicians partner until the tragic death of their assistant during a show. So what you're going to get no spoilers, but we're going to talk about the lead up and the feud that leads afterwards, and how it's so important that this scene, this tension building, really sets the stage for the whole movie. And also pretty much the theme, we're going to hit on a very important theme right in the middle as well, that really also sets the stage as you're watching the whole movie. I love the fact, if I say one more time, sets the stage, you got to leave a comment, like, and support the channel, because we are still a very new channel. But if you're enjoying stuff like this, again, please, we'd love your support. Again, let's just jump right into it. Let's jump right in. So let's go into the very beginning. This scene is actually very important, so we're going to go ahead and pause it right here of why this scene is so vital. It sets the stage, and let's talk about one of the first things you see here, and we're going to go to pause in this moment. So we see Michael Caine's character actually has in his hands an axe, which is one of the most important things that sets this up. It means that this scene right here is that, well, this object is really important, that it holds a lot of value in the scene, that it's going to be used for something, that it's for safety or to break something, that we know that everything is always done in a movie for a specific reason. A good movie, that is. And so we go back again to respecting the viewer's time. So we see the axe, and this moment of being recorded is important because it's going to be leading up later. The problem with bad movies is when stuff just doesn't matter, or if this scene in general just had no value, then you question, well, why do we watch it? And then why is it even there in the movie? Especially when a runtime could be pretty low, what we see here. But this runtime is actually really long, but everything in the movie does lead up and is very important. So that leads us to our next moment here that we should talk about. The relationships are established. We know that these two are in a relationship, and then even later they even discuss how they are close to each other, and the fact that, hey, don't do X, Y, and Z. I can see you guys doing stuff in the very front row. If I can see it, therefore other people can see it as well. What we're seeing here is that they're pretty much three assistants helping in terms of an act. They're getting their feet wet into a larger career and something that they really care about. But we know that these two individuals really mean a lot together, and we see their chemistry even building through just some quick banter, what they do on stage. And so that's another very important lead up to the climax that we're going to discuss here in a moment. This scene is also very important here. This establishes the discussion between the knot that they're talking about. The knot is pretty much how she slips and gets out and is able to do the trick successfully. But Michael Caine is giving a very urgent warning and pushing and saying it will not hold. It's not safe if the knot gets wet. Therefore, she won't be able to slip it. But the interesting part that we see here as well is just how the passion runs from Christian Bale's character as well. And just mentioning that they're not willing to try new things. We can try a new knot. Let's try to make it interesting. And also even makes fun of the person they're working for, and just really highlighting, hey, they're not even innovating. They're not even trying. And he's got such a passion that's lying there, but his passion is his ultimate downfall that we're going to see later in the climax, but also in the overall film. Especially when you think about how great these two individuals are, of these two characters, what that means. And so that's another way to respect the relationships here. So far what we covered are the relationships, that's one. Covered one, relationships, and then two is the knot conversation, and three is the axe. So that we're going to see all that really build up, and it just comes together because while it didn't seem like a very big deal and we had no idea where this is leading up to, we see how those pieces all come together. And of course, we talk about the risk and passion. So let's go and talk about that last one now. So we see in this scene, and this also sets up the whole film, this scene is so important as they are sent on a journey to understand how he achieves his magic tricks. We're like, how is he doing this? How is he achieving putting such heavy objects in a specific area? And we say, wow, how did that happen? That's such a large object full of water, and we see the smile because we know that he's figured it out. Because he's figured it out, he knows what the act is. And we're going to see it right here. Ready? This is a trick. And then we're going to go ahead and pause it because we see this character.
Look at the man.
Let's take a look here. Ready?
Is the tree.
Is that this is the act, and without any spoilers, this is actually the whole premise of the film. The passion that is put in and why this character is so important is that he's actually not as weak as he appears. That every time that he actually goes into public, and this is a little bit extra in terms of respecting the viewer's time, is that this is a setup for Christian Bale's character, and also what Hugh Jackman is looking for is that this is the act, and putting all your passion and work into something so then you can have an amazing result. They also talk about it later in the film, talking about not revealing tricks, you know, because then nobody will really care at the end of the day. But the fact that he is appearing so old that when he achieves these results, it looks fantastic, or it seems unachievable. How is that even remotely possible? Because you rule out the possibility of, well, we just take a look here, of the idea, and we see Hugh Jackman's character just trying to achieve it. We also see the relationship here of how they're doing it and holding it in place, trying to figure out how would he actually do this?
Strong as an ox.
Strong as an ox. But making sure that it's done as clean as possible so the reveal is perfect.
He's in public anytime he goes out. It's unthinkable. Important. Saw it at once, but I couldn't.
And now we lead up to the biggest moment, the big reveal here. Now that we've already set things up, we're going to watch the scene and we're going to break it down step by step and how important it really is and the magic behind it. No pun intended, because it's a movie about magic. So now we're seeing a repeat of something we've already seen. This is something that's already gone successful. There's no worry. You know, we have the normal cuts. We see and we see also the pause here. Ready? The lead up. The concern, you already saw it right in the eyes right there. Ready? We're going to pause and just take a look at this. Because it respects the viewer's time. What knot are we going to tie and what are we going to do? Right? Something here is going to change. That pause, the look. Also the back and forth, the little bit of a nod, which is very, very subtle from both of them, just so they don't give it away of what they're doing, but they're going to try something a little new. Also reassuring, setting the stage of the trick, which is also interesting. I want to point out the magicians are big on setting the stage of the trick, which is also fantastic in setting the stage of the scene, of the tension that we're seeing, the building, the interest in this overall scene. So let's take a further look once everything happens. We'll skip ahead here. Now, everything just seems normal. It's shot pretty much the same way. We see Michael Caine with his axe here. We see, and then boom, one of the most important things that we see that's a little different. Let's pause. This right here is now the added element that we didn't see before, but also gives tension for everything that's going to happen. We're going to hear the ticks that occur with the clock as everything goes and time passes, which is going to be really interesting. Ready? You're going to hear this tension. Everything's shot pretty normal. The camera is pretty steady at the moment. Longer shots just to, but as we keep building, we know the clock is going. And the audience scene starts to lean in. Boom. The moment where everything changes. And take a look, where almost the camera becomes like found footage. Ready? There we go. We see the shake happening. We see everything's uncomfortable. Everything that was established before is no longer working properly. And because of that, we see this break happening and the jump cuts that are occurring. Like I said, everything was steady before with the camera, but it's not steady anymore. And we're just capturing as if the viewer, are also panicking with them. And then we get the jump cuts and then we get the final break. No pun intended with what's happening. And it's heartbreaking when you see that moment. And it just, whenever it's done well, this is done so well in so many films, but this is just one that I had watched recently. And also what we were talking about here on the channel. And just, I'm really passionate about it. I didn't want to spoil too much. This is the beginning of the movie, by the way. This is pretty much still the start, and everything else afterwards. If you want to watch this movie, I highly recommend you go out and check this out. You know, go watch it online, go rent it, anything you need to do. It's a fantastic movie that's well put together, and afterwards you're going to want to know how this all ends and how it all builds up. Because, I mean, we're only looking at, let's take a look here, what we see. Really, the first like 25 minutes, but we have 2 hours and 10 minutes of a film. And because of that, like I said, I didn't spoil a whole lot. We know the setup. We know that these are two rivaling magicians that are passionate of what they do. They talk about risk and reward. They're trying to journey into something bigger than themselves, but it creates this ultimate discourse between them that also becomes probably both of their downfalls ultimately. And so if you enjoyed today's video, I know it's a little different, and I wanted to try something new and seeing what you both or everybody really thought. And thank you guys again. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you all in the next one.